Okay, I think this is all set up properly. Let me know if something's wrong, or I'll probably just watch it before I upload it. So, I'm assuming you know how to open files and shit in this. That's pretty basic. If you didn't, you wouldn't be able to get here. So yeah, basically, these are the various window things. There's tools, which I never fucking use. You probably won't either. It's for like editing sprites in the A&M2 editor, which is pretty useless for the most part. These are the ones that I usually keep open because they're kind of important. Basically, this is a list of animations. You click on one of them and it'll show you stuff. You can add a new one and then rename it. I think like triple click to rename it, or it just gives you a prompt when it loads up. Yeah. But yeah, you click on one of them. If you click on a frame, it'll show over here the sprite sheet for that specific frame and where the different things it's pulling from are. So, if for this instance, the spider here, which exists... Here, let me zoom this in. Scroll wheel. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of frames in this particular. It's just idling up. But... yeah, you can click on it and you can select this area over here. You can also modify this stuff in this area using this, and this is basically the meat of what the shit you can do in this entire little section here. So, for instance, on this falling animation, we have the spider up there, and it's on its string. Huzzah! Start frame, it's up top. Move it up a little bit from where it originally was. So if I just like, but yeah, like if you look at the, what is it? Where did I put this shit? Oh no, it's this one that has the increased position. And okay, sorry, I forgot a thing. This is an unnecessary frame then. This one is. Not that it matters. It looks good in game, so I'm not gonna change it. But basically, this has a tag on it called interpolated. And basically what that does is that, so this one's position is like this one's, oh shit, fucking dragged it. This one's position is -88, this one is -80, so basically the interpolated means that for each frame it just goes the in-between frames for that. It doesn't work for some things. It'll work for position, and like pivot, scale, all of those, the RGB colors, rotation, all that kind of stuff. Does not work for the crop X and Y. Alright, and I don't think it works for width and height either, because those ones are basically deciding what in the sprite sheet you want. So for this one it's 32, 32. If I change it to like 16, it's only giving me half the width over there for what all you're selecting. This ad is annoying me. Get the fuck out. Alright. So yeah, RGB colors. It's interpolated, so it goes the in-between frames for this. So this one's interpolated all the way down to the bottom so that it has just a constant falling speed. You can accelerate it, but you have to do that like individual frames yourself. Usually, I mean, you freaking animation basics and shit. You want to do like the opposite of an action a little bit before you do it. So in this case, before it drops down, it jumps up just a little bit, which is slightly important. That's just a, yeah, that's just a graphical artifact. Okay, I'm like, is there a pixel that's picking up and it shouldn't? Yeah. This is the amount of frames. There's another thing over here which is kind of important. None of this I even ever fucking use, because again, it's just for editing the sprite sheet in the actual animation editor, which is fucking useless. Yeah. So this is useful over here. There's a loop. It's fucking just barely off screen. Yeah, loop. And you can change if it loops or not, which that actually changes how it affects in game. It's not just in here in the animation editor. Everything always loops. The bake button basically takes this and it's in interpolation frames and it turns it into regular frames. So you can modify it to have that like increasing acceleration or whatever if you wanted it to. Shit like that. There's also to the right of loop, there's FPS, which only changes how it actually appears in the editor, like how this sprite plays. Because currently the editor, for some goddamn reason, runs at 30 FPS, but the game runs at 60, right? So this is running at half speed of what it actually looks like in game, which is annoying as fuck sometimes when you want to, I don't know, fucking see what it looks like normally. So if you go all the way to the right on this thing, there's a fucking FPS changer. You can change it to whatever you want. There is an option to change how fast FPS runs in games, so like if you really want to, you could set it to like 120 or some shit, but it won't make any difference for the actual look of it. And you could also set it to like 30 and then just fucking use it, like the animation in here, and just say like, oh, that's the speed I want it to be. You could also just like double the duration of all these frames, and it would have the same effect. Whatever, not important. It actually look better because the if you use any interpolation like this, the longer it is, the more it'll smooth out that movement instead of having to like jump each individual movement pixel. You feel me? Some of this stuff is useful, like changing the background is pretty useful sometimes. You can show like the pivot of where the thing will rotate if it rotates. You can hide the axis so you can actually see like the string here. Usually I leave it on because it's not a big deal. Centers the view, blah blah blah. Not anything super important. Grid is useful occasionally, but I never really use it. It's up to you. The other really useful button is replace on the sprite sheet tab, because you can fucking replace the spreadsheet with a new one. And just updates out everything. It keeps all the frame information, so like this, if I just wanted to change it from one spider kind to like the hanging exploders instead, I could do that. Which is how I actually made the hanging exploder animation, and then I just modified it quite a bit to have different frames because it looked really boring. Other windows that are important. So this window here is frame properties. This one is the sprite sheet editor. This is animation preview. This is timeline, and this is the animation list. This is sprite sheet list. Okay, blah blah blah. The only useful one is events list. Besides this, and basically, so in this animation, for instance, I can scroll everything back fucking over. This is the event, and this event is specifically, well, I could show you if I actually just play the thing. So you see how it flashes right here, low. I mean, you can't, it's around here. I can't actually show my mouse on the animation thing, whatever. Yeah, it says low there. And that's basically just the trigger for an event. Basically, you literally just click here, you hit insert frame like you do for anything, for any of these frames, which I didn't mention, but it's a thing you can do. And then you just change it from high to low or whatever just by clicking on the event over there. It's useful if you want to use events, which you probably do because they're fucking useful. Yeah, you can add shit here. Layer name doesn't fucking matter, whatever you do it, unless you're making something specifically for game, like for a character costume, you have to use like head 0, because if you want to modify the head or whatever. Just different shit like that. I have no idea what no layers do. I've never used them. And then the sprite sheet ID is just which sprite sheet you want to use for that layer. You can have different sprite sheets, and only one gets used for a layer at a time. It doesn't like stack them all together or some shit. The more of these you use, the less the game likes you, and it lags more when it spawns it. It's not a huge increase in lag, but it is noticeable if you have like 40 frames or some shit, like, or 40 layers. So do keep that in mind. I suppose. There's also a button here, fit animation length. So if I like added more frames here, like, and I hit play, it's not gonna play those. It's not gonna show that. But if I hit the actual fit animation length, then wow, it'll do that. And so you can see it stop for a second. When you hit insert new frame, I think it usually copies the last position. Yeah, like whatever the last frame was. You can also Control C and Control V, and it works. It looks weird because it doesn't actually show you any indication of it, but it works. You can generate a GIF animation. It's kind of useful. That's pretty much it, honestly. I don't think there's anything else that's really useful to know. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Fucking, I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm sure I want to exit. Fuck this shit.